The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
He finally stands up to his father's criticism of his interest in Hello there, heroes! I'm the Orange Ranger, and another season of Power Rangers has come to an end. Although really, it ended a while ago. I'm just getting to the end of it now. Dino Fury Season 2 was another Hasbro season that found itself needing to fill the rather large shoes of its prior incarnation. Season 1 was generally seen by the fans as pretty strong, dealing with a little bit too much filler, but what are you gonna do there? Season 2 promised new powers, new Zords, new villains, but would that lead to new, aka increased, quality? If this is your first time watching one of my season recap and review videos, here's how things are going to work. In the same way that I would start a review of an episode by recapping the plot of that episode, I'm going to recap the plot of the entire season. Now, this will not be done episode by episode. Just like Season 1, Season 2 dealt with a lot of filler, and I'm not going to recap everything. However, if they did manage to sneak some plot into a filler episode, I'll be sure to cover that. Following that, I'm going to go over my thoughts on some of the major characters in the season. No, Stan and Annie are not going to be mentioned. Besides, right now, I suppose. The Rangers, their allies, the villains, and of course, the comic relief. I'm going to try to go back to the high point, low point system for recapping characters because I feel like that just adds a little bit of additional structure that's helpful. Oh, by the way, I did realize after I posted my review of the final episode that I had forgotten to mention the fate of two of the characters. I will this time. And then that fantastically fun scoring math. I will add up every scale and every fragment of scale that Dino Fury's second season earned, average them out, and compare that to Dino Fury's first season. And then add those two scores together and average them out to reach an overall conclusion about Dino Fury as a whole. Yes, the part of the story that is called Dino Fury. Let's go! The season kicked off with, okay, I can't bring myself to make the joke one more time, but they literally called episode number 1 of season 2, Numero Uno. And honestly, I think it was titled that more for that gag than anything having to do with the episode itself. You can stretch it to say that the moral is you have to focus on Numero Uno and not take on so much responsibility?
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Really, the important parts of that story are focused on the villain side. Void Knight makes a mysterious electronic return, having found one of the most wasted Sporix beast on the entire show. The digital form Sporix Bitscream, who could travel through basically anything with an internet connection, which these days you know is only like everything. It's also a rare win for the bad guys, as Void Knight manages to get back his Chroma Fury Saber, and the Rangers Fix-It Quick Key and fixes his armor. After taking an episode off, the plot returns in the third episode, Missing Pieces. Not a ton of plot, but some important threads get started. Void Knight uses a Sporix beast called Oculo that can basically see anything, along with a memory-altering amulet that Slither literally just happened to find in the basement, to collect a spree of Sporix. I wonder if a group of Sporix is actually called a spree. Meanwhile, Solon manages to locate the 3 suns of the planet Revcon, but when Zado heads there, he only finds the suns, no planet. However, he does find a beacon emitting a signal, and when combined with the signal that they found last season, it turns out to be part of a message about Revcon. The next episode, Tiny Trouble, is significant for 2 reasons. Number 1, the Rangers get a new Zord, the Paka Smash Zord, and the Baby Paka Zord. The other is that Oculo finds the last free-range Sporix in the city, and that is just enough power to activate Void Knight's jukebox machine and to revive his wife, Santora. Stitched Up is a nice, different kind of girl plot for Izzy, but does plant the seeds of Santora wanting revenge, while Tarik just wanted to leave Earth. Similar to Tiny Trouble, Jam Session contains a mostly meaningless human plot, along with a brand new Zord, the Terra Freeze Zord, which is a battle mode Zord, and also takes a step along the villain plot. Void Knight, Tarik, returns to Area 62 to find that his wife has reactivated the Sporix machine and placed herself inside the chamber, using the power of the Sporix to mutate into Void Queen. New Leaf sees Tarik begin to turn towards the side of good. He never actually wanted to harm humans, just to save his wife and then leave the Earth. But now that she has the power of the Sporix, Void Queen wants to get revenge on the humans, even blowing up the spaceship that Tarik made so that they could leave the Earth. This finally causes him to turn on her, revealing information to the Rangers that helps them defeat a Sporix beast. The Hunt is a really strong episode that sees Tarik fully turn to the Rangers' side and reveals the source of the Void Knight powers. Tarik was somehow, and again, even after seeing this again in the finale, it is still somehow able to turn a Red Ranger power-up morpher, the Dino Knight morpher, into the Void Knight shield. Giving it to Zado, it turns back into the Dino Knight morpher, giving him the Dino Knight power-up. However, Void Queen recaptures Tarik after the Sporix Beast is defeated. The Copycat is the mid-season finale of Season 2, and the only thing that's even near worth mentioning from that train wreck of an episode is that Void Queen did to Tarik what she did to herself, using the power of the Sporix to transform him into Void King, her loyal counterpart. The second half starts on a far stronger note, as they use a low-key team-up, like a really low-key team-up, to introduce an important element back into the franchise. The Dino Fury Rangers get a call from Commander Shaw of Grid Battle Force, reporting that there has been a jailbreak at the jail that they apparently have for monsters. The Beast Morphers Rangers deal with one of the escapees, but they overheard another say that they were headed for Pine Ridge. That would be Lo Thorn, the nephew of evil wizard and MMPR nemesis Lo Kar. Izzy's humor is weird and confusing as they destroy the creature. Later on, they find out from Shaw that the prison break was orchestrated to free Scrozzle, and Scrozzle was freed by Lord Zed, who was revived last season and went to go find his staff. Thus kicks off the Lord Zed arc, a 3, or if you include that episode 4, I guess, episode jaunt where Lord Zed basically takes over as the main villain, which, as I said at the time and has since basically been confirmed, felt a little bit like another stalling tactic to flesh out the season, as much as it does set up things for later on down the road. It starts with love-hate, which finally cements Amelia as an actual thing. Lord Zed manages to take over Ollie's mind, and gets him to give Lord Zed the 2 parts of the Revcon message that the Rangers had to combine with a part that he found while out looking for his staff. But thanks to Zado's powers of retrocognition, memory reading, but thanks for that term, Ranger Wikia, he's able to hear the entire message as well, that in order to keep the planet safe, Revcon was moved. In Revcon Revealed, Ion begins to start misinterpreting the prophecy that the Green Morphin Master made when she revived him, thinking that, without you, Lord Zed will rule again, means that he has to defeat Lord Zed personally. The Rangers follow Zed and his villains to where Revcon is, but then the villains in turn follow the Rangers to where the Sporix generator is, intending to take it and create a new army of Sporix. Zado is nearly killed defending Ion when he goes off half-cocked and tries to fulfill the prophecy, but they are brought back to Earth by a mysterious benefactor. That, of course, was the Green Morphin Master, who explains what she's doing in the next episode, which was titled 3 Cheeses to the Wind. Just kidding, it was uncreatively called Morphin Master. That episode was a closet clip show. No, not an episode full of clips of closets, a hidden clip show. We see various moments in Ranger history that turned out to be the Green Morphin Master. An over-worship of her influence on Ranger history, in my humble opinion. Red and Blue come to imprison Green for her interference in human affairs, but the Rangers try to defend her, until she sends them back to Revcon to deal with Lord Zed. This is also unsuccessful, as Zed successfully takes the Sporix generator, which destabilizes and destroys Revcon, the Rangers just barely escaping on the Megazord they left in orbit in the previous episode. Oh, and before she sent them away, Green also gave the Rangers the Dino Master Saber, another power-up mode with some nifty attacks, but that also had a very interesting final attack. One that would kill the person using it just as sure as what they were attacking. Red and Blue are convinced that interference might be okay when Green manages to stop Lord Zed after the Rangers were overwhelmed, with the assistance of Ion fulfilling his prophecy. Episode 17, Things Unspoken, is where the villain's endgame finally begins. The episode is another fantastic Fernsy episode where Fern learns that Izzy is the Green Ranger. But the deeper impact, eventually, is the villains trying to steal a drill machine that the forest wardens were using to drill drainage lanes under the forest. 2 episodes later, Bad Vibes, Javi and Izzy are zapped by Sporix energy and turned evil just long enough to reveal to the bad guys how to steal the drill, since their father, Warden Garcia, had been running the thing. At the end of the episode, Void King drills into the base ship and manages to successfully steal the Rangers' collection of Sporix. Then we reach the final arc of the season, the ending 3-parter. And you know, something I haven't mentioned until now, but I did want to talk about. Usually, when you have a 3-part episode, especially one ending a season, all 3 episodes have the same title, with just Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Orange Ranger Goes to Space, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. I found it a little bit clever here for the episodes to have 3 different titles, but to all start with the very simple word, the. It really does tie them together in a way that doesn't seem so obvious, but is still kind of noticeable. Episode 20 is The Invasion, which sees a group of Revconian soldiers finally come to Earth to answer Zado's call. At first, they figured it was just a prank call, a 65-million-year-old Revconian knight being alive on another planet. But with the desperation of Revcon being destroyed, they decided to come and check it out. And they really like the Earth. They don't want to move on to it and share it with the humans. They want to take Earth over and basically make it new Revcon. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Void Queen picks that very point to unleash her entire Sporix Beast army, forcing the 2 sides to work together so they would have a planet to fight over later. In the intervening time, the Revconians' general, Aurea, learns that humans aren't so bad, especially after Pop Pop is injured defending her. At the end of the episode, Pop Pop, who believes that he might be dying, reveals to Amelia that she was not born to human parents. The truth is revealed about Amelia in the next episode, The Truth, and yes, that is a joke that I used again. Amelia learns that she is a Revconian herself, her parents Revconian refugees that crash-landed and were captured by the American government at Area 62. When the facility had a massive accident, they passed Amelia through a hole in the wall to Pop Pop, who agreed to watch over her. In the present, Void Queen goes to Buzz Blast and forms some kind of cocoon around herself with the power of all the Sporix, which would devastate the city and a whole bunch of stuff around the city if it opened. Amelia sneaks away from the Rangers and into Area 62, the last chance to learn the episode title about her parents. The Rangers, in 43 episodes, never put together that Area 62 was where the bad guys were camping out, so Amelia is ambushed by Slither and just barely holds her own until the Rangers figure out where she went and go rescue her. She didn't find the files she was looking for about her parents, but when she tackled Void King to save her friends, Amelia sees his memories and learns that Tarik and Santora are her parents. This revelation about who Amelia is transforms Void King back into Tarik. Which leads us to the episode I just reviewed, The Nemesis. Tarik becomes Void Knight one more time to teleport the cocoon out to the desert. That saves the city, but the massive red and black Nemesis beast, piloted by Void Queen, still looms as a threat. The Rangers try to get Amelia to Void Queen, one touch being able to show her the memories that prove who everyone is, but ultimately Zado has to use the Dino Master Saber's final attack, which kills him but disables the beast, getting Void Queen out of it, so Amelia can touch her and return her to Santora. Izzy graduates high school, Javi gets a little bit famous, Ion opens up a cafe, and Ollie and Amelia are still dating, I guess. But just when life seems poised to go on as normal, a mysterious energy pushes its way into the Dino Fury base. It is Zado, revived from the grid as the Dino Fury Ghost Ranger. Lord Zed has escaped his crystal. This is my shocked face. And the Dino Fury Rangers need to head to the cosmos to take him on in Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. That's what happened. Now let's talk about who it happened to. Zado is the Red Ranger, the dynamic leader of the team, and yet something I mentioned as a positive in my review of the Nemesis actually comes across as a negative for Zado. Zado's Ranger Wikia article has exactly one paragraph that pertains to Season 2, about him getting the Dino Knight armor. Now, that is a wiki, and there really should be more written after that, but still, Zado doesn't really get a whole lot of Season 2 development. His search for Revcon continues, but as I said multiple times, finding his homeworld only to directly see it destroyed never had the emotional impact on him that I felt like it should have. I didn't need him to be mopey and sad every second after that, but even in moments where Revcon would be directly mentioned to him and he remembered that it had been destroyed, he would be a little sad for a moment and then cracking jokes moments later. Again, the correct portrayal of this was Aurea, who had to take a moment and swallow her crushing sadness before moving on with the conversation. Zado's Season 2 high point stands in a class by itself. They tried to make a red herring of it, but did end up going through with it. Zado uses the Dino Master Saber's final attack to destroy, well, really disable, the Nemesis Beast, laying down his life to protect his friends and the planet Earth. By my count, and I could be wrong about this, Zado is only the third Power Ranger to lay down their life in battle. The others being Kendrix, the first Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger, and Steel, the Silver Beast Morphers Ranger. Of course, none of the three of them stayed dead, because this is Power Rangers. Zado's low point this season was the episode Guilt Trip, as he was just making some really confusing decisions as a leader. First, he allows Ion to go to Japan alone when there's very likely a Sporix Beast there, meaning the entire team should go investigate. Confirming that there is a Sporix Beast there makes him bring over the entire team. But then, when they find out that the villains are doing something back in Pine Ridge, no. All 6 Rangers need to stay in Japan to deal with the Sporix Beast. It was just very confusing strategy. Ollie is the Blue Ranger, and in Season 2, we do see a bit of a shift in his character, primarily motivated by his relationship with Amelia. He relaxes a little. He's not so focused on pure science, which, I mean, he's a Power Ranger, he's regularly exposed to the paranormal, but hey, love will open eyes. Ollie's high point in Season 2 was actually really difficult for me to decide because he's not given very much to work with, but I'm going to go with love-hate. It was fun seeing him evil and fighting the other Rangers, and hey, he gets the girl at the end. Hey, guess what? Ollie's low point is the episode Guilt Trip. It's almost like that was a really, really, really bad episode. He gets really pissy about his mom feeling like he's abandoning her for his new girlfriend Amelia, not doing anything to acknowledge her feelings or try to be better about it. Perhaps my favorite character from this incarnation, Izzy, the Green Ranger. Another character that wasn't given very much to do. Thinking about it, Izzy doesn't really grow or change very much. Most of her focus centers on her relationship with Fern, which is wonderful in a progressive standpoint, but the only other thing we really get from her is that she starts cracking jokes at very inopportune times, which maybe reflects a lack of confidence and anxiety? I think Izzy's high point is Things Unspoken, where her relationship with Fern really takes the next step, and we see her struggle with the responsibilities of being a Power Ranger. Izzy's low point is Stitched Up. It's another really good episode for Izzy as a progressive character, showcasing that girls don't have to like frilly dresses all the time, and ending with her taking her girlfriend to the prom while wearing a tuxedo. But she's really kind of horrible to her mother when she thought that her mother did make her a dress against her wishes, showcasing a petulant side to the character that we've seen several times throughout the 2 seasons. From Izzy to her brother, the Black Ranger Javi. Javi sees some really subtle growth this season, becoming more confident and comfortable with who he is. This culminates in his high point, the episode Jam Session. He finally stands up to his father about his interest in music, proving that it's not just a dalliance, but a true passion. I kind of wish we had seen Devin have that conversation with his father, Mayor Daniels, about either video games or martial arts. Javi's low point is the episode Wishful Thinking, where he gains some fame via a wish charm and just goes kinda nuts with it. Now, with most of these characters, the high points and low points have been specific episodes. In this case, there's an exact low point moment for Javi in this episode. His friends have been hurt by the wish charms. Izzy's turned into a Zord, Amelia is regressed to a child, and Ollie has been turned into an action figure. It is speculated that destroying the monster who made the wish charms will turn everybody back to normal. Javi asks if they can wait until he has his duet with Famous Guy.
No. So
I'm saving the real star of the Rangers and focus of the show's story, so let's talk about the 6th Ranger, Ion the Gold Ranger, instead. Ion was introduced very late in Season 1, so Season 2 was his chance to shine, if you'll forget the semi-unintentional pun. You may recall that very early on, it was directly mentioned that Ion was linked to Lord Zed, that if Ion did not revive, Lord Zed would rule again. Unfortunately for this dedicated Revconian knight just like Zado, Ion's happy-go-lucky nature was really played up. You may recall from watching my reviews, there was a stretch of episodes where I could not stand Ion. He got locked into this cycle of doing selfish things for really dumb reasons, there being disastrous consequences, him not really even being sorry for it at first, and then at the end offering a very lackluster and unfeeling apology. Ion's high point is the fulfillment of his prophecy in Morphin Master. After nearly getting himself killed, thinking he had to be the one to directly defeat Lord Zed, he finally realized what the prophecy meant. With Green and Zed locked in a beam war stalemate, Ion realized the opportunity to jump in and distract Lord Zed, allowing Green to capture him. Though even this is a backhanded high point, because at the end of the episode, he still thinks the prophecy was wrong and doesn't realize what it actually meant. Ion's low point is one of the first examples of that cycle I mentioned of him doing something really dumb and then not being sorry for it. The festival. Ion goofs around with Zado's gift in the base, breaking things in the base, and breaking the gift, the Dino Chucks. He covers this up, allowing the Dino Chucks to be taken into battle with nearly disastrous consequences. The damage at the base prevents the Rangers from creating a weapon that they need to save the day, and then Ion gives up his motorcycle not as a mea culpa, but as the heart-swellingly generous right thing to do. And now, as I said, the star of the show, the focus of the story, the Pink Ranger, Amelia. Amelia gets a surprising amount of focus, and the final arc especially centers around her. Amelia even starts the season in a position of admittedly temporary authority, temporarily running Buzz Blast, and just really comes into her own as a character this season. It is uneven, as there are some surprising moments where she's really timid sprinkled throughout the season, but overall, Amelia steals the show. Amelia's high point comes right near the end in the truth, in which one of the pros I listed for the episode was Hunter Dino's episode. She's heartfelt in the reveals about herself and her desire to learn the truth. Her decision to take the opportunity Pop-Pop gave her to go to Area 62 was impulsive but brave, and she held her own against Slither unmorphed.
Yes! That's awesome!
Amelia's low point is the episode that kicks off the Zed arc, Ultimate Mystery. Feeling that there's been a Bigfoot sighting, Amelia convinces they never quite worked out as side characters, and no, I'm still not giving them low and high points, Stan and Annie, to directly countermand Jane's instructions in covering a story that they were told not to cover. At the end of the episode, she tells them that she was wrong. Not because she told them not to follow instructions, but she sent them into a dangerous situation. We also see a lot of growth from Tarik as he undergoes a lot of change. He goes from the main villain, Void Knight, to ambivalent, to siding with the Rangers, to being captured and turned into a main villain in Void King, then to being redeemed. He fades a bit as Void King, just serving really as a loyal lackey to Void Queen, but makes up for it in the final episodes when he's changed back. That take was complicated. Weirdly enough, Tarik's high and low points come in back-to-back episodes. However, they're the other way around, so for one character we're playing flip-flops here. The low point is New Leaf, suddenly showing a conscience in terms of not wanting to hurt people and just leaving the Earth. His wife insists that he hurt some people before they leave. If he's that committed to not wanting to hurt people, he should put his foot down sooner. But he just rolls with this, not raising any sort of objection until people are actually hurt. This does, however, lead to his high point in the next episode, The Hunt, where he does find the stomach to turn on his wife, directly helping the Rangers by giving Zado his powers. He fights alongside Hobby before that, and it's just a really nice touch for his character. It's just a shame that right after that he was rather anticlimactically captured and turned into a loyal lackey villain again, but c'est la vie. Now I'm going to talk about some other characters in a hopefully more brief fashion, seeing as this is page 7 of this script, and I haven't even started talking about the scoring yet. Coming from Tarik, we'll now talk about his wife, Santora. There's one key issue for me with Santora. Looking back on her character, her arc makes all the sense in the world. But taking an episode at a time going forward, it really doesn't. Santora at first is presented as something of a dark twist. Tarik, seemingly good-natured if desperate, works for over a year to revive his wife. And when he finally does, she's twisted, evil, seemingly even against him. Yes, it's hinted that she has a reason, something the humans took from them, but we don't know what that reason is, so she just comes off as cartoonishly evil at times. When we start seeing the flashbacks and learn that she's the way she is because she thinks humans killed her baby daughter, she suddenly makes a lot more sense. The problem is, that's the final arc of the show. Otherwise, she just comes off as kind of a standard main villain. All the credit in the world for the creative decision to use the Madame Noir suit from ToQger, as much as I wish they had just adapted that series instead. Mucus is a character that I really wish they had done more with. It's amazing to say that Rhea Soldier did anything better than Dino Fury, because it means there were parts of that show that I didn't fall asleep during, but in that show, that character, whose name I forget at the moment, had an arc, feeling used as just a tool by any of the villains that came along. Here, Mucus is just kind of the villain's comic relief. Oh, by the way, Mucus and Slither, who honestly gets so little development I don't even feel justified mentioning them in this recap. Sorry, Campbell. Survived the final battle, and a poster we see in the last episode implies that they took their human forms and are now running a circus. So, now I can throw that in. I forgot to mention it during the Nemesis review. Oops, Wrapping up with the non-humans before we get to the human side characters, let's talk about Solon. Now, in something of a rarity that reflects how long reviewing this season has taken me and how fast his process has gotten, Linkara has actually already posted his History of Power Rangers Dino Fury video, and had that posted before I even had this video written. He made a really good point about Solon that I just have to echo, so all the credit in the world to him. Solon was in the position to be an incredibly wise mentor, being awake and alive. Sorry. For 65 million years. Sure, she was alone, but she had access to Earth TV and radio and eventually the internet. However, she's rarely ever the source of that kind of wise counsel, simply being the alpha that sends out the Zords and does techie type things, and often some light comic relief. Solon doesn't really have what I would call a particular low point, but she does have a high point. She gets a focus episode, Missing Pieces. After an upgrade, the Rangers' memories are messed with and they start to doubt her abilities. She has to prove herself by finding the 3 sons of Revcon, and the Rangers come to realize how valuable she is. Alright, now we're going to finish up with those side character humans. The first one I'm going to talk about is Fern, because I think I have the least to say about her. You know how I said that most of Izzy's development is tied to Fern? All of Fern's development is tied to Izzy. The closest thing we get is the episode, and its title escapes me for the moment, but where they break up because Fern is going to go off to the non-existent sports college and Izzy turned it down to be a ranger, but she doesn't know that, etc., etc., etc. That shows a little bit of Fern's own goals and direction in her own life, but even in that, she's upset because she wanted to do that with Izzy. Fern developed very neatly as a character from an athletic rival to Izzy in the first season to her love interest in season 2, but she doesn't do very much. I wouldn't say there's a high point or a low point. There's never a point where she rescues someone like Pop Pop or anything. She's just kind of Izzy's girlfriend. And again, like I said about Izzy, that's incredibly progressive, and I'm glad the character exists. And to just directly acknowledge that I know this, if the rumors are to be believed, Fern is not only going to be a ranger in Cosmic Fury, she's going to be the Orange Ranger. So I'll be more excited about her then, but for what we have so far, she didn't do very much. And that entire take was ad-libbed. Ollie's mother, Lani Akana, is actually a surprising presence in Season 2, as in the very first episode, it sounds like she's been written out. Ollie talks to her, and we learn that she's taken a research position in Japan. So I figured the actress just wasn't available for Season 2. Maybe she wasn't as available, or something about that changed. She makes several Season 2 appearances. Her high point comes in the final 3-part arc of the show. It's kind of stretched across a couple of episodes, so it's not one particular episode, but she is a part of the final arc. I criticized the idea that she would have access to technology more advanced than the Rangers, but thinking back on it, they were really more bringing in her mind, her analysis of what was going on, and she's very capable and wise explaining exactly what was happening. In fact, thinking back on it as I was writing this, it's really a low-key nod to the idea of capable women working in the STEM fields, which is always awesome. Her low point is Guilt Trip. It's almost like I really hated that episode. Ollie is a dick to her, but she comes off as weirdly clingy, wanting to talk to her son while working on something that seemed to be very important. Maintaining a relationship with your mother, as long as that relationship is healthy, is important, but she seemed unwilling to allow her son to have a romantic relationship without being involved in it. Ed Pop Pop Jones is occasional comic relief throughout Season 2, but plays a huge, serious part in the final arc. He saves Aurea, demonstrating Dino Charge Purple Ranger original Albert levels of bravery and capability for an older man. Believing that he's dying, he reveals to Amelia who and what she is. His bravery, stopping to check on Tarik and Santora during the facility explosion, literally saved Amelia's life. And here's something fun to think about, though. It just occurred to me as I was writing. How does Amelia turn out if Pop Pop doesn't take her? I would imagine, based on the fact that they survived, that she would survive. And I don't really know how Tarik would take care of her, but think about this. He raises her to be this angry alien at humans just like him. The humans that captured them, that hurt her mother. Instead of a sweet, kind human reporter, Amelia is this angry alien villain. That's a fun little what if. The Garcia's mother is so vital to this story that I mentioned her name in a recent review and still did not remember what it was until I saw it on Ranger Rakia. It's Rena. However, Warden Carlos Garcia is far more vital to this story and does see some growth. There was the argument that I mentioned with Javi about his interest in music, where he does come around to supporting that, and by the copycat, he is just as supportive, for better or for worse, of Javi's competitive music efforts as he is of Izzy's athletics. He's another character that's strongly involved in the final arc. That's a positive point that I actually didn't really mention in the review, that they kind of brought back all the main side characters to be strongly involved in that final arc, as he is the main operator of the drill that the villains steal. He shows admirable concern over protecting the key. Also, in Bad Vibes, he shows touching love for his kids, as he picks the day that they became a family as the drill's passcode. And then yes, the comic relief characters, Jane and Jayborg, Janeborg as I came to call them. Thinking back on it, these two did seem a bit more dialed back in Season 2, although there could be a lot of memories that I'm just repressing for my own mental health. These two characters, as most comic relief duos do, exist so that multiple parts of an episode can be filmed at the same time, and to give kids something to laugh at. They did have a high point this season in that final arc during the evacuation of the city when Buzz Blast was announcing it, and they were very professional and serious about it with only that one little gag that I mentioned. There were also a number of times, actually thinking about it, that we saw Jane as the professional, serious head of Buzz Blast, which is apparently this big. Alrighty, get your calculators ready and let's do some adding up. This time we're comparing Dino Fury to itself. Honestly, I do this part of the recap and review video because the memory fades over time. My episode scores are crystal clear snapshots of how I felt about each episode at the time it happened. So the numbers give me a very clear idea about how I felt about this season, episode by episode. Let's get to it. Looking over Dino Fury Season 2's scores, it's a season of runs. The first 9 episodes are quite strong. There are 5 4s in the first 6 episodes, and nothing lower than a 3 in those first 9. Then things get bumpier. Episodes 10 through 19 are a rough middle ground, as the show stalled waiting for its final arc. Episodes 10 through 19 average out to a low 2.675 out of 5. However, the show ends on a very high note, with 2 5s surrounding a solid 4, really a 4.5. Actually, a quick note about that. That 4, the truth, I cut off half a scale, relenting from cutting off a full scale, due to a scene where Void Queen lifts her dress and the Sporix come flying out. I saw it as a squicky paraphrased birth from this character that kept referring to herself as the mother of the Sporix. Executive producer Simon Bennett, who to my continued surprise watches my reviews, was very surprised by this take. Bennett retweeted my review and said in replies in that he directed that scene and only saw it as the Sporix hitching a ride under her dress. In the vein of not knowing art but knowing what I like and what I don't like, I kind of stand my ground here, as this was my interpretation and nobody can tell me that my interpretation was wrong, not that Mr. Bennett was. But I do feel a little bit better about softening that penalty to half a scale, as I do see where Mr. Bennett is coming from, and a full-scale penalty was probably an overreaction. As a reminder, for the best episode, when there are ties in scoring, I eliminate premieres and final arc episodes, as those episodes really kind of have to be great. Anything in the middle of the season that warrants that high a score is going to stand out more. Thus is the case here, as Dino Fury Season 2 got 3 5 out of 5s, but 2 of them are final arc episodes, the Invasion and the Nemesis. So, the best episode of Dino Fury Season 2 is The Hunt, the debut of the Dino Knight armor, and a great episode of character building for Tarik, as he finally rejects his wife's evil and helps the Rangers. The worst episode is and is not a debate. You see, only one episode got a 1 out of 5, and that's The Copycat, a very disappointing mid-season finale, as it focuses hard on a singing contest that I couldn't have cared less about, and the drama just skirts around the rules that were established for that contest. However, I am not letting Guilt Trip out of here without bashing it one last time.
One last time.
A fun romp in Japan instead gives us a very confusing and pointless feeling episode where multiple characters act badly and create false drama. It felt goofy and pointless, so close to the end of the season. It upsets me more than The Copycat does. However, again, feelings at the time, so Copycat is the worst episode. I just needed to get that off my chest one more time. 22 episodes of Dino Fury Second Era gathered up 75.25 out of a possible 110 scales, a 68% mark that did improve on Dino Fury's first season's 71 scales and a 65% mark, but still looks like a high D. A better reflection, as usual, is the average episode score. That's a 3.42 out of 5. Slightly better than average, and again improving on Season 1's 3.23 scales out of 5. Dino Fury Season 2 is not the end of Dino Fury, but 2 seasons makes an incarnation, so let's take a look. Combined, Dino Fury got 146.25 out of a possible 220 scales, 66%. Its average episode score is 3.32 out of 5. The numbers here reflect the reality. I called Dino Fury Season 1 frustratingly good, and that's the case here as well, just frustratingly better. Mainly, the strength of the new start, and especially the final arc, perk it up over the first season. Indeed, Season 1 didn't score a single 5 out of 5. Dino Fury Season 2 got 3 of them. 2 of them in its final 3 episodes. But that middle section, that long stretch of road where there are a couple of 4s and a whole bunch of stuff below 3, These two seasons have the exact same problem. Dino Fury was written to be one season and then was stretched out into two. And to prove I don't always agree in lockstep with Linkara, he said that these arcs in the show were easily fleshed out into two seasons. I rather strongly disagree. This show spins its wheels for so long. For what it's worth, this might sound kind of bad. I really wish Dino Fury had been one season. A lot of the meaningless filler would have been cut out, and we would have gotten an exciting, meaningful, well-written single season of Power Rangers. This is one of the reasons I'm really looking forward to Cosmic Fury. I'm sad that we're only getting 10 episodes, but all 10 should be bangers. And that brings me to the end of the... No way. The 9th season of Power Rangers that I have reviewed from start to finish. This one was rocky. This was the season where I thought I'd finally given it up. I burned out. I had to stop. But then I just missed it too much. So I made the decision to come back and finish out this season, and all of you were right here waiting for me. And I deeply thank you for that. So, I told a bit of a lie last time. I said I would end this video by announcing this mysterious thing that I'm going to be doing next. Then I remembered that I've actually written a separate video to make that announcement, and I kind of don't want to cut the legs out from under that. So, under wraps for a little bit longer. I will answer this question. Am I going to review Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always and Power Rangers Cosmic Fury?
Yes! Yes!
Whatever else I'm doing, this audience has always been here for me. I can't let myself burn out, and I do fully plan to be making videos about something else at the time, but Once and Always is a special, and Cosmic Fury, again, is only 10 episodes. For the support I've been given, I will commit to that. And that will conclude the Power Rangers Dino Fury Second Era episode reviews. Thank you, heroes, so much, as always, for your continued support of me through a journey through another 2 seasons. Now that this video is over, you can let me know what you thought of this season, as well as my review of it, down in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to lend any support to my channel that's not Patreon or Ko-fi, you can Google Orange Ranger Videos Teespring and check out my Teespring store, where you can find neat Orange Ranger shirts like this one and others, etc., etc. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. I'm gonna go to do this take again, along with a memory-altering amulet Meanwhile, Solon manages to... One, the Rangers get a new Zord, the Rangers get a new Zord, the Paka Smash Sword. Paka Smash Sword? The Paka Smash Sword. And the only thing that's even near worth mentioning from that train wreck of an episode is something, isn't it? Ollie is the Blue Ranger, and in Season 2, we do see a bit of a streak over. Then gets captured and turned into a... Now, in something of a rarity that reflects... Getting distracted by that? And here's something fun to think about that occurred to me during writing. I don't know. Episodes 10 through 19 average out to a low 2.67 out of 5. As a reminder, for the best episode, I eliminate premieres and final arc episodes where there are ties. And we would have had a well-written, meaningful, exciting season of Power Rangers. It really would be nice if I'd finish my thoughts. Wind that video back, you probably saw a demon coming out of me.